Hi everyone, just here to wish you a massive good luck for your exam this Monday. That's right, it's the Cambridge iGCSE English Language Paper 1, the reading paper. So I thought I would just pop on today just to give you a few last minute tips just to get you feeling really good and confident before you go in for that exam in the morning. So the first thing that I'm going to say is to remember to read those texts really thoroughly. Do them one at a time, obviously. You don't have to read all three. Do the first text, then answer the questions, then move on to the second one, obviously. Do keep a lookout for the mark allowances, the mark allocation at the end of each question, because if it tells you 2 marks, it means that you have to cover 2 things. And if it gives 3 marks, then that means you need 3 things, whether that's like 3 layers of explanation or 3 details. So just keep an eye on that to give you an indication for detail. Now, a lot of the questions in this exam rely on synonym skills, where you either need to find the synonym or you actually have to explain what something means in your own words. So one of the things that I will say is always check the context of the words in use, because sometimes, particularly on 2B, they will use a word where the literal meaning doesn't make sense in terms of the text in front of you. So you've got to look at the context and think, is this being sort of used metaphorically, for example? Best example of this is on the Adam Kay paper, the doctor's paper, where it talks about the bleep that he used, and the word was affectionately, and anyone that wrote down lovingly got the answer wrong because he was joking. He obviously hated his bleep. So always look to context. And when you're trying to put things in your own words, don't feel limited by word for word translation. Sometimes you might need to reframe the whole kind of idea. So an example, for example, would be, can't remember what paper it came from, but there was a sort of something that said facilities were appreciated, and you had to translate appreciated. And so it's quite difficult to go, thankful, grateful, doesn't work in the sentence. So, you could say received gratefully. Do you see what I mean? 2 words instead of 1, but the meaning is correct, okay? So just be really, really careful with those synonyms, that you're looking at the words in context and reframing where you can. Okay, some advice for some of the bigger questions. Let's start with 1F. That's your summary question. The biggest thing here is take your time to plan. Once you've found that information, highlighting or underlining through in the text and figuring out what information you need to include, transfer it into a little table or into a little bullet point list so that you can restructure them if you need to, i.e. you can go, that point goes with that one, so I'll deal with those 2 together. And then it means that you can tick them off as you go, and then that means that you're ensuring that you're getting all of the information. Now that's a 15 marker, but 10 marks come from the content. So that means you need 10 things. Look for 12 to be safe. And then the other 5 marks are your quality of writing. So as well as your accuracy, think about the way that you're connecting your ideas together. So do use the odd furthermore in addition also, those types of things. 2D, this is the only part of the paper that really calls for any analytical skill. So the exam board says choose 3 words or phrases from each paragraph. You've got to do 2 lots, so it's 6 words or phrases in total. Choose phrases that have clear images in them, because what they want you to do is to discuss the impact of those images. So it's really important that you choose phrases that have enough in them to be able to get those layers of analysis. The exam board is wanting you to deal with images, so that means the word image or imagery should be in your answers. So for example, you might want to use phrases like it creates a playful image, or it creates an image of a bustling environment, or it will make the reader imagine X, Y, and Z. So make sure that's layered through. And of course, if there are metaphors, similes, personification, etc., reference them as well. Question 3. It's the biggie. It's 25 marks. 15 of those marks comes from your content, so kind of like the summary. So you're going to do the same thing as you did with the summary question. You're going to find the information first, then you're going to pop it out into a little table to allow you to plan, and then you can kind of tick them off as you go. But your 10 marks is for the quality of your writing. Now, as well as spelling, punctuation, and grammar, this is also about style and the conventions of the text. So when you look at that question, the first sentence of the task will give you everything you need to know. It will give you the genre, the audience, and the purpose. If you have a speech, make sure that you welcome your audience appropriately at the beginning and thank them at the end. Show the examiner you know how a speech works. If you get an article, make sure you use a headline. If you get a report, make sure you use subheadings. I mean, obviously, we're all hoping for an interview because all you have to do is write down the interview question and then answer. But again, make sure you're using little anecdotes because it's an interview and that's what you would do in that kind of situation. If you want more detail on how to hit conventions for each text type, I do have a video that goes through every single one that could come up. So, maybe have a little look through that as you go. The last thing that I'm going to say before I sign off is about proofreading. Everyone hates proofreading, and the majority of my students, when I say, did you proofread? They'll either say no, because I couldn't be bothered, or I ran out of time, or they'll say, yeah, I tried, but I was exhausted, so I don't know how much I picked up. Proofread as you go. So when you have your summary question, let's imagine you're going to split it into 2 paragraphs. After your first paragraph, check it through. Check your spag. Check that you're putting it into your own words. Make the corrections then. That means 1, your brain will be more ready to pick up on it, but 2, your next paragraph will be more accurate. Because if, for example, in your first paragraph, you realise that you hadn't capitalised your I's, you're going to make those changes. And then in paragraph 2, you're obviously going to remember to capitalise your I's or not to comma splice or whatever it might be. So in all of those big questions, 1F, 2D, question 3, proofread per paragraph. And then you should end up with a much more accurate response. Okay, I think that's it from me. Feel free to obviously just drop me a line and ask me any questions before Monday. I'll try so hard to get back to you because I know that we're in a race against time now. But keep calm. You've absolutely got this, okay? Make your way through that paper. Stick to your timings, around 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30, 35, 45, 50, with a bit of time for planning. And also, you will have come up with ways that help you, all right? There's so much advice out there about, oh, you should do this question first. You do what works for you, okay? So if you plan in a certain way and it works, stick with it. If you like to start at question 1 and go through like in the normal order, go for it. If you like to start at question 2, do 2 and 3 and then go back to 1. If it works for you, you do you. Okay, that's it from me. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want more help, there are loads of resources in my playlist taking you through question by question, so do have a little look. Let me know how it goes. Best of luck, best of luck, best of luck. And of course, happy revising.